Talking about generosity before. Now we're speaking of miserliness, tzaikanut, stinginess. He says, This is a disgraceful trait. Shlomo HaMelech says, Al tilchem et lechem ra'a ayin, ve'al titahu lemitamotav. What does that mean? Do not eat the bread of the cheap one, and do not lust for his delicacies. He'll tell you, eat and drink. But his heart is not with you. What happens? He says that he puts bad vibes. He says, eat. And he's like, how you take my food? You should get sick from this. What is this? How dare you? He's cursing you the whole time in his mind. The Malbim says that if a host is a cheap person, the food he serves you gets kalkal. Gets chas shalom, bad, negative energy. And it will cause you to become nauseated. It will cause the body will reject it, and he'll vomit it. Sometimes you go to somewhere and you eat and you get sick. You don't feel well afterwards. Why? Could be that the guy who gave it to you was miserly, and therefore you put negative energy into the food. All the best. He says, what are the traits of the miser? What's a sign of a person who's cheap? Mekabetz hon. He loves to accumulate wealth. Lo yiten tzedakah. He doesn't give tzedakah, or he doesn't give tzedakah how he's supposed to. Lo yirahem al aniyim. He looks at the poor people. He tells them, go work. What do you need to ask money for? A cheap guy, he's overly exacting with his dealings with other people. He doesn't overlook anything, and he doesn't let you make money. He has to squeeze everything out of you. Meaning, I come to you, I said, let's make a deal. He says, well, how much is the price? You tell him, listen, 100. Why 100? I know you buy this probably for 80. Why you charge you 100? Calm down, relax yourself. So listen, what do you mean? I need to make money, you need to make money. I need to give myself room to breathe, be understanding. A regular person says, you know what, okay, we'll calm down a little bit. The other guy who's cheap, what does he do? No, mapitom, if I know you're making money off me, no way, I can't spend that money. He doesn't know how to let another person live. He has to always squeeze as much as he can. Right? He doesn't feed or clothe any other person or anyone that he doesn't benefit from. He has no trust in Hashem. Right? Who gives him? Hashem is the one who gives him money. He doesn't believe that. He is hated by others. He does not beautify the mitzvah. He says, "Oh, why buy $100 etrog? Are you crazy? I found one for $20 over there. Why'd I have to buy the expensive one? For what?" He does not acquire a teacher or a friend. It says, "K'nei lecha chaver." You have to acquire yourself a friend. Sometimes you have to go out of your way, spend money a little bit, get a good rabbi. You go to spend money in the yeshiva, spend money in the shul. No, he doesn't want to do any of that. He doesn't care. Okay, I won't have friends. Okay, I won't have a rabbi. It doesn't matter. I don't want to spend money. And because of all this, he remains empty of Torah and mitzvot. There's people who are cheap with their body, right? Tzaikan begufo, gam ura meod, shlo yaseh chesed bnei adam. There's people who don't want to do chesed. They don't like to do chesed. They don't have time for nobody. Tzaikan is a cheap, miserly with his body. He doesn't share his body. He doesn't give his time. He doesn't give his body to do chesed with people, right? He says, listen, you want to speak to me? Speak to me when in shul. When I'm in shul, then we'll speak. I don't have time the rest of the time for you. You don't have a few minutes for me? No, I don't have time for you. I'm sorry. He says, when there's a party, all of a sudden he has time. He shows up. Everybody comes for da'awah. When it comes to help, to do chesed, we need people to come help set up. No, I'm busy, I can't, I don't have time, I'm not here, I'm not available. Right? This is a miserly guy with his body. He says the worst is miserly bechokhmato besfarav. He doesn't want to share any wisdom. He doesn't want to share any of his books. Right? He thinks, Chas Shalom, if I share my wisdom, other people are going to gain. Only I can gain. How can I share my wisdom? I can't tell secrets to anybody. I can't tell business advice. You know, sometimes people who start a new business, they don't know the business so well. So they come to the older guys in the business. Hey, I have a couple questions. Can you help me? Can you this? Can you that? No, I'm sorry. I'm busy now. I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Of course you know. You know where to buy from. You know what the margins are. You know where the customers are. You know what's the business tactics. Why share the wealth, share the wisdom? Why no? Why I need another competition. Why do you need another competition for what? I act as stupid as if I don't know anything. So over there, Hashem says, what do you mean? There's not enough money for all of us? What are you talking about? There's enough money for everybody. What do you mean? The person has to have emunah. This guy, he doesn't have emunah.
You gotta be like Bitzalel.
He says, such a person, monea bar yikabuhu le'om. Mishlei says, King Solomon says, such a person, one who withholds the grain, will be cursed by the people. But the generous man, bracha le'rosh mashbir. Pasuk says, the blessing will be for the provider. If you're a provider, you share, Hashem gives you bracha. But if a person holds everything to himself, I don't want anybody to have anything, he's cursed. You have a lot of people who are wealthy. What do you mean they're cursed? Rabbi, look how much money they have. No, they're still cursed. That money doesn't give them bracha. They build something for a crazy amount of money, and then it breaks, gives them a headache. They thought they're going to open another branch, another business, and this business took all their time, and make them crazy, stressed out. He doesn't have time. You can see the guy, he's a millionaire. He's running. I go vacation, enjoy it. No, I can't, the business, this, that. All day like a slave to his work, right? So then what? And then there's people who have a little bit, don't have such a big business, don't have so much money, but they have a lot of bracha. They're happy, they enjoy. Whenever they need something, Hashem enables them to buy it, and then they feel good about themselves. And they say, if I live that guy life with it, so what am I? I'm dealing with $50 million, but look how much headache he has. It doesn't give him bracha, it doesn't make him happy. I'd rather not be in those big numbers, stay small, and be happy with what I have. I have bracha. Why? Because he's a provider, not a cheapo. And the good in this trade is, there is some good to be cheap. Sometimes you do have to be cheap, whereas not wasting your money on havalim, vanities, things that are not so important. And sometimes, to do a big avera, you need to spend a lot of money. And he's not willing to spend that money because he's cheap. So at the end of the day, he saved himself from avera. So therefore, he says, he's also saved from the rich man's gava. The rich man's gava, what does he do? He spends on a crazy party, so he gets a big gava. But the guy who's cheap, and he doesn't make such a party, so he'll never have such a gava. So he also saves himself from that kind of gava. He says, also when a person spends a lot on himself, he feels that he has so much good, he starts to forget about Hashem. Right? Yishurun got fat, and that's when he kicked God. So the guy who's cheap, he doesn't fall into this splurging on himself and let it get to his head, and therefore he won't kick Hashem like the guy who splurges on himself does. Therefore, a person has to make sure to make himself generous and not to be miserly, and he has to learn from Yaakov Aminu. It says, what does it mean that Yaakov was alone with the angel of Esau? Why did he go back? Because he forgot. It says that Yaakov Avinu went back to get the small jars, and the Gemara says in Chulin, we learn from there that the tzadikim, they're very meticulous. Their money is more precious to them than their bodies, and they're very careful not to extend their hands to steal. What does that mean? That means that he was willing to risk himself going alone at night. That's dangerous. You're putting your body in danger. Still, I went for the money, the small jars, to get them back. Why? We see from here, he cared more about his money than his body. That sounds pretty bad, no? That's why should you care about money so much? No, the Gemara is teaching us something, a big chidush. He's saying that a righteous person, he knows that everything Hashem gave him is for a reason. And he doesn't look at money just for the sake of the money. He looks at the money as sparks. He looks at the money as something spiritual. Hashem gave you a possession in this world, and it has a purpose. And therefore, I'm not allowed to waste what Hashem gave me, and I'm not allowed to take what's not for me. So I can't steal other people's stuff. It's not my sparks, that's their sparks. And also, whatever Hashem gave me, I can't let it go to waste. That's why Bal Tashchit is so bad. Our grandparents, they used to make us crazy not to waste even a little bit of food. Because this is what Hashem gave you for a reason. You have to use it. So therefore, Yaakov Avinu went back to go and get those small jugs, and he felt that since that's a mitzvah, so he'll be protected. So he's not worried about being alone. In the end, he had to fight Yaakov, Esau's angel, but he didn't lose. And okay, he got damaged a little bit, but he didn't lose. Then in the day, you see that's how a person has to look at his money. He has to look at his money, not super cheap, spend it only in myself. If it's for a mitzvah, I'm uplifting the sparks, that's good. For vanities, I shouldn't use it. But at the same time, a person, when it comes to mitzvot and helping other people, he shouldn't be stingy. He should share the wisdom, share the wealth, share his body to chesed. And that way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be that way with us. Baruch Hu.